My name is Kaitlyn Link. I am a cosmetologist, otherwise known as a beautician, and I work at Regis in the Kirkwood Mall.
And so you work at Regis. What do you kind of do at your job?
Um, Normally I do a lot of haircuts. I do a lot of colors, perms. I'm big in perms. I love braiding, so I do a lot of braids. Um, and then side work, we have to do duties. We have to clean a salon, everything like that. Keep up on laundry, make sure that uh, the shipment is put away and everything like that. But yeah,
So how many hours on average do you work a week?
I work typically 40 to 48 hours a week.
And is it Monday through Friday, or what kind of schedule is it like?
My schedule personally is Thursday through Sunday or Monday. So I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, so it's like an in-between weekend. But
And then do the hours vary, or is it like 8 to 5? Is there set hours that you work?
there are set hours. Each day is kind of different. Thursdays and Fridays I work 1 to 9, and Saturdays we're only open from 9 to 7, so I work 9 to 7. And Sundays I work noon to 6 because the mall's only open from noon to 6, and then Mondays I work 9 to 5.
Okay. And then what's like? Can you kind of describe is every day different on the job, or is there?
Some days are really similar, but occasionally you'll get a really crazy person coming in. Like they can be really mean sometimes, or sometimes they're just super chipper. Or you'll get somebody in who brings in this little girl, and she has this crazy afro all over the place. So you have to make it better, and every day is kind of a different adventure. But
So how is there like an average structure to your day?
what do you mean?
Like, do you come in and do the same thing every day, or like get started the same way every day?
More or less. We just got a new computer system, so I've been training everybody on the computer system. So you come in, you clock in, um, see if you have any appointments for the day. If you don't, then you try and clean up a little bit, dust your shelves, stuff like that. But otherwise, yeah, you just get going with your work.
And then do you take your work home with you? Does it really bother you in your off time or anything?
Not normally. Sometimes the stress from work will come home with me more or less. But usually it's pretty decent. Occasionally I'll work on a doll head or something at home to better myself, but other than that, there's really no take home.
And then how did you decide that you wanted to become a hairstylist?
Well, I really didn't know what I wanted to do my senior year. I was just kind of throwing stuff around. I really wanted to go to art school, but I wanted to stay in town for a while, and I didn't want to go to college here, so I decided that hair was the most artistic way for me to express myself, so I went to hair school.
And where'd you go to hair school?
I went to Jay-Z Trend Academy.
And what was the process of that education like?
Well, first you have to start in core, which is basically we call it the freshmen, sophomore, seniors, whatever, juniors. Core is basically your freshman. You sit in there for 9 weeks. You do book work. You study. You learn on doll heads before you're even allowed to touch a person. And then when you graduate to a freshman or a junior, sophomore, then you get to start working on people. The learning leaders is what we call them. They're our teachers. They pretty much just stand behind you the whole time, make sure that you're comfortable with everything. You have to actually pass a written exam and a person exam. You have to do a bunch of stuff on a different person with just cholesterol and stuff like that, no real color. And once you pass that, then you get to go on the floor. And then while you're on the floor, they have what's called the creatives and I forgot the other name, but creatives is like your seniors. They are more advanced. They don't have to have as many checks from a learning leader. And then there's also the 2100 program. Some states require more hours than North Dakota, so when you're in 2100, then you are basically just getting your extra hours, but also the owner, Jody Zahn, will sit down and teach you some of her tricks of the trade, which is really cool. I almost did it, but then I dropped out. So then there's also phase 2. It gives you incentive to always strive to be like the honor roll student. And then dress code at work or at school is black, just all black, no print, nothing. So when you're in phase 2, you get to wear black and white. So it kind of gives you a little more like exciting feeling. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And how long time period wise?
For North Dakota, you have to have 1,800 hours, which with good attendance will take anywhere from 10 to 12 months. So I graduated after about 10 and a half months, almost 11 months. I graduated June 29th, and then I was working by July 12th.
And how did you go about like finding your job? Did you just apply places?
You know, it was kind of funny. I was receptioning there during hair school, so my boss just kind of came up to me one day and was like, "So you're gonna start working here when you're done, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, all right, I've got a job, cool."
Have you worked in other jobs besides being a hairstylist or beautician?
I used to work retail and like in the food service. I worked at Shields, and I did that for about a year and a half, and then where else did I work? Oh, I guess I was a religious teacher for like 5 years, but that really doesn't count. I think that's it.
And so why did you kind of explained you didn't really know what you wanted to do, but you thought hair was like artistic. So are you still thinking about going to art school, or do you feel that like
I would love to still go to art school. Art is really my passion, but I also really love hair now. So it's kind of a bittersweet thing. I'm thinking once I get all my student loans paid off and everything like that, that I'm probably going to go back to art school and maybe work part-time in a salon just to support myself. But
and then what kind of goals do you have in your career?
Well, everybody has a 5 to 10 year plan when you get out of hair school. We make sure that you have that all set up. And for myself, I actually am in the process of building a salon, so I'm so excited. Me and 2 business partners are looking at spaces for rent right now. It's very premature, but we're hoping to be open by next year. So
that's exciting.
I'm so excited.
What do you think it takes to be successful in this industry?
Passion. Passion is huge. If you think that you're going into hair school just because it's going to be an easy course, I mean, you're in the wrong industry, because it's a lot harder than it looks. And there's people who have been doing hair for 20 years who really feel like they don't need to learn anymore, like they know everything. And I feel like they're really wrong, and they're really missing out on the learning, because we have to have it's required that each cosmetologist has at least 2 continuing education courses per year. And some stylists don't participate in it, so they never get better. But I feel like even just looking back at myself 3 months ago, I can tell that I'm still getting better.
So what's your favorite part about your job?
I love my coworkers. It really sucks to work at a job that you don't enjoy the people around you. And I feel like when there's people there with no drama and just a great personality, and we're all like such good friends, that it just helps to have that support system there. So
what are some of the toughest parts of the job?
Toughest parts of the job would probably be when a client doesn't like their hair, or if they're just really rude to you. I mean, you kind of just have to go in the back room and just kind of just like put yourself in Zen mode, because you can't let it get to you when you're on the floor. And mostly, I mean, there's always going to be people who are trying to con you out of money and are trying to get a free service. And I mean, sometimes you just have to let it go and just let them have the free service. And sometimes you just have to stand your ground. I mean, I'm one of those people who have always been just like shy and like will quiver in the corner. But I mean, you really, more or less, I mean, you just have to grow a backbone when you're a cosmetologist, just because there's so much that you have to like be outspoken about.
Do you do any traveling for your work?
Occasionally I'll do traveling. In Vegas there is Caper, which is a Paul Mitchell thing, but it's for mostly just students, but you can still go. It's this like week-long thing where they do crazy cuts, colors. They have a runway show. They have a white party. I mean, it's a ton of fun. I never got to go, but I'd love to. I do go to Fargo and Minnesota when there's hair shows, and basically there's different stations for each line of product, and everybody will have like a cutting class or a coloring class or something like that, and it's fun to go to, learn different things. But
so in your career, is it very individual or is there a lot of teamwork?
for the most part, it's very individual. You have to be your own support system sometimes, and I mean, the hard part about being a team player is like you always want to help somebody or somebody always wants to help you, but the problem with that is like if somebody is helping you with a service, you have to split the cost. So I mean, it's very personal, I guess you could say. But
Is there anything else you think people should know?
I don't know. Gotta think on that one.
Do you think there's like a stereotype kind of it being an easy career to get into?
I do. Most people, like in high school, I remember a lot, people would be like, oh, you're going to hair school, you're not going to school really, you're just going to do hair. And it's like, I thought that too, honestly, when I was going into it, like it was just going to be a breeze, and it's so much more complex than people think, because there's a lot of tests. You take a test every week, every Friday. You have to study all week long for it. Then there's also, once you graduate 1,800 hours, you aren't licensed until you take your written and your practical test. So the practical is when you do a bunch of different services that you would offer in a salon on a doll head, and there is one of the state board of cosmetology members like breathing down your neck the whole time, and it's just very nerve-wracking. And then you think that you might know everything for the written exam when you graduate, but I didn't know any of those questions. Like I was like, I'm gonna fail, I'm never gonna get my license. So I don't know, it's very complex to what people think it is.